Okay, actually, this is my first take. Nani, which date is it today? I think the 27th, right? I think. Come here. What do you want, baby? What can I serve you with? Okay. I don't even know if you say it like this. I wanted to record something for a long time and it's really uncomfortable. I'm practicing this for weeks now and it's not getting less uncomfortable. So I decided just to do it. I'm not a person that likes to be in the internet. It's extremely weird to me that people enjoy this shit. And I frankly do not even want to do that. So I decided to just hide most of the things because I'm extremely psychologically damaged. But I needed to say some things, right? Like, as a background, I'm analyzing what's happening in the world for a long time, like, not news-wise, but, like, analytically, intellectually, with a lot of different things. I don't even want to talk about myself, and it's not even really important. I just want to say some particular things that are on my mind and that I feel like are not being said, and it really bothers me. It bothers me because coming from an outer perspective, when I look at the current situation of the world's developments, I understand that it's really frightening for a lot of people and a lot of like intimidation game going on and everything, and it's totally understandable and graspable. And by the way, sorry, ADHDing here, and it fits. Really looking forward to it. I think there's gonna be a new Kill Bill 4 coming, so I just needed to get this out there. Frankly, I'm even gonna put this here because it aligns nicely with my Ironwoman. So, shout out to Uma Thurman, by the way. She's absolutely great. The fourth one is gonna be impeccable. Like, it's gonna be absolutely incredible. But what are we talking about? I wanted to say some things. I understand that the current situation is really messed up. I'm obviously referring to international politics, especially what is going on in the U.S. I am not a U.S. citizen. A local citizen. I do not aligned to a particular national state or whatever, so it's not even important from which perspective this perspective comes from. It just comes from an analytical perspective. We just mixed a little bit with a kind of like of course, like an intra-subjective perspective due to particular personal experiences, and also growing up in a context of a quasi non-democratic background, raised with particular settings of ideologies and whatever. It bothers me that, and I was wondering about that. I feel, and that comes from a perspective of being confused a lot and being all over the place due to psychological presuppositions, but I feel that the depiction and the discourse when it comes to international politics is extremely uncomfortable right now. The situation is uncomfortable, I get it, but the media representation and the whole public discourse about these things is really annoying. Why am I wearing gloves? Because I'm using my hands a lot and my hands are really dry, so I'm doing hand masks. And also from a metaphysical perspective, it's really relevant to me because the hands show everything, and I don't wanna show these things. Because if you can read hands, like if you understand universal logic, you will understand why I don't want to show my hands. It's none of your business. So when it comes to international politics, it's really disturbing that you have a lot of emotions out there. That was already part of the discourse post COVID pandemic. the discourse, the political discourse became way more emotional, way more biased, way more intensified in a sense of politizations. People who were normally not into politics, they became kind of political about things, they had strong opinions, friendships broke up, all the cute stuff, like people killed each other, like relationships fell apart. There was an extremely increase in domestic violence, people was being stuck together. Like the pandemic was just like such a paradigm shift in the whole global social dynamic of things. So it laid the perfect background for a new political agenda and a new political landscape, which was kind of emerging out of this collective moment of powerlessness, right? And now we're here in an age where the formerly known democratic states are becoming more and more, as they say, imperialistic or totalitarian. The quasi-democratic states are, first of all, I feel like even intensifying in their status as a state. When we look at the US, it is really questionable how a country that was supposed to be an alliance turned into what it is right now. I have a huge respect for, which is a little bit controversial, I guess. I'm not an anarchist or some shits, I'm just a critic, right? I understand that institutional critique is essential, and I understand why people are always shitting on bureaucracy and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, if you think about an anarchistic state, you really have to think about if you want that. I think it is really the development within the public and the institutional depictions of it and the correlations is really astonishing, because funny enough, I don't know if people know what anarchism means or what it's supposed to entail or whatever, but I think it's extremely interesting that people who are criticizing the state and being like really anti-establishment are, funny enough or paradoxically, expecting a lot from the state. Like the state critique and institutional critique is, funny enough, a reproduction of the need of a state. For example, like if you're being disappointed by a development of a state, or you're disappointed by a particular agency or an institution or whatever, that shows that you kind of rely on the state or the institution or the entity you're referring to. It is like, for example, if you're living in a welfare state and you're getting money from the government, right? To not work. Like, that these are circumstances that are existing, right? You just get paid by the state because, you're not working, but you get social support money and stuff like that, which is totally fine. It's a really complex matter, and I'm not here to shit on these payments or anything. But there are a lot of people who are exploiting the system. It's not only people who need it. It's totally fine for people who need it. Of course it is. It's really necessary. Like, look at like single moms. Like, there's so many people who are really neglected by the state or whatever. Sure. I'm talking about the people who are profiting off the state while being complaining about the state all the time. And that is like, it doesn't mean that you do not have the right to complain about the state just because you get money from the state. But you have to be aware of this paradoxical situation you're in. Like, I'm also in a lot of paradoxical situations. But anyways, I think it's really astonishing that a lot of people are shitting on everything now, and they're still not aware of their own contribution to this problem. You had, like, when we're taking this comparison between a Republican and a Democratic way, right? First off, we have to acknowledge the death of a third way here. Like, that is just something we have to get out there. Like, we see it at, like, just sticking with the American example, you had people who were kind of located in the middle on the political middle, this is not existing anymore. Like people, like I don't want to mention Elon Musk here. Let's just take Iron Man out of the picture here. But he kind of like he would never admit it, but of course you're not in the middle anymore. Like let's just be honest here. Like I don't even want to get in this because then I'm just gonna rant the fuck out of here. There is not a middle anymore. The Democrats made a strategic mistake by just like throwing Kamala out there for the last, I don't know, 11 weeks of the election, which is still incredible to think that within this tiny little span she achieved so much. I have to say that I was really not ambivalent. I have to even admit that I was not convinced by the Democratic run, and that I was actually leaning towards the Trump presidency, the second term. Like I'm just gonna get it out there. Like I don't have anything to hide. I have my reasons for that. I regretted it, not with regard to him or his performance before the actual after his performance after January, after the inauguration and everything, but because of the people that he's gathering around himself, the cabinet he was forming, and there are a lot of questionable entities in there where I was already suspicious from the beginning. Like, and now of course, like later on, they are getting to the surface, and their performance is really like their performances are really shining through the formerly known as Republican agenda, which is obviously becoming something that is also contradicting to a lot of Republicans' agendas. So I don't even want to call it that anymore. So I think that I can say a lot of different things, but what I actually wanted to say is that of course it is a really dangerous situation, but I also feel like there's a lot of potential in this situation. I understand that the whole world is freaking out because you cannot really say that it's a safe state anymore. Like literally there's no safe state. If you're looking at the Greenland situation, it must be acknowledged that as soon as Donald Trump would take Greenland, of course the other superpowers, which is admitted, like people are admitting that we're gonna move into an era of superpowers where just the big players gonna succeed and the other ones just gonna be sucked up by them. Like this is something that people are already accepting. So this is kind of like, that is absolutely pathetic. Like that is absolutely crazy to think about. But this is also relating to a particular understanding of forces, right? Because you always think that the bigger one is gonna swallow up the small one. I'm not getting into this. It's actually, even if I sound a little bit critical, because every time I talk about politics, which I obviously hate, I hate that topic. I'm getting really passionate because I have strong political opinions, because I lived in particular political realities that made it really hard for me to grow up, or for people that I know and I cared for. So also when it comes to potentially totalitarian or states of a state, dynamics of a state that are leaning towards authority-based power. Like I have a lot of experience with that, so I'm not non-emotional by it. I try to not be polemic about it, but I'm not gonna subtract my personal experience from these things. I have a particular ressentiment about particular political points for sure, and I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not. Like I'm a person, so of course I have my core values about that. But as a hope-giving argument, I just wanted to say that we all have to relax. Like there's a lot of fear-mongering from every side right now. Like you should not, as a normal citizen within the US or Europe or Africa or whatever, wherever you are, like if you're Kenya, Senegal, like whatever, wherever you are, Australia, Asia, whatever, we're all watching these international political developments unfolding. We're all drawing our conclusions about what is going to happen, how it's going to affect us, and that's totally valuable. But I just want to say that what happens right now is a reproduction of a particular political reality that was already existing. What happens now is nothing new from an abstract perspective. What political powers are underestimating is the growth of consciousness within the public. I think we're living in an age where we really it's an extremely interesting point in history where on the one hand we have a reproduction of a similar event chain, but that is kind of like a plant that is actually being planted on another soil, because we're living in a globalized society, right? Everybody's like, oh, globalization failed. How do you know that? The fruits of the globalization, I like to say glocalization, because I'm not a blind pro-globalization person. I'm a glocalization person. That means that it doesn't mean just because you're that you're a pro cultural development under the framework of globalization, or a transcultural perspective on politics or philosophy or whatever. It doesn't mean that you have to negate your local communities, for example. That's why I like the term glocal, because it implies that you can care about your inner circle or your region. You can care about your area you're living in, the city you're living in, the state you're living in, the county that you're living in, the continent you're living on, the planet you're living on. Like, it really depends. It's a matter of scale. For all the people who think like globalization failed, who are you? Like, are you Nostradamus? Like, how do you know that? Like, you can't even know that because the fruits of globalization are not even being shown yet. Like, because what happens now is the big forces are going to see what the global community is able of. They don't know that yet. And I don't even talk about a social media reality or something. I'm talking about we all have to chill, because we have to really check on the focus that we are establishing right now. We can focus on international politics all day long, and it's gonna just tear us the fuck down. It's gonna take the power away to really determine how our day is going, how our week is going, or how our to-do lists are getting less or smaller. We really have to keep it cool-headed here, because first off, if you're living in the US, for example, and you are for the Democrats, like, that's the moment of the Democrats. Like, I was predicting a new rise of a democracy, like, or democratic movement, not a democracy per se, but for the Democrats. It's gonna be a new age of American Democrats, and it's already happening. So the mixing of these ideologies is already happening. Like I said before, I have a huge respect for the presidency, because I read the amendments. I'm not a US citizen. I read the amendments. I kind of studied a little bit the Constitution. I even read the American laws. And I also closely followed the development of Doge, for example, from a concept of efficiency standpoint. And so I'm not just talking opinions here. Like, I did my cute little research. I'm doing academic research for more than 25 years now, so we're good here, right? I lived at different places in the world. Like, I'm not just like a person renting on a sofa here. Like, I did a lot of different things. And I think it's really important to really, if you really want to kind of have an overview or be close to the developments, that you really should push your own analytical framework way more. What is the president doing? What is the government doing? How is the Congress involved? Which democratic forces are also leading up to this? What is the potential for the new day? Like, how is this a dispersion of focus, of course? Like, what does it imply for your day? Like, how can you escape the potential distraction that it creates for your own life? And how can you handle the current situation? I think a lot of people that are in this observant state of, oh God, this happens and this happens. But I think we should lean more and more towards the interest and focus and discovery of how to handle that 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 development that is happening right now, because it's gonna last a little bit. It's not gonna be gone. Like, it's gonna get, sorry to say that, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get way worse. Like, there's gonna be a kind of a civil war moment, and it's not just only gonna affect the US. The US is always just in the middle of everything, but it's gonna affect the whole world at some point in some kind of way. So I think, like, from an individual perspective, we should just relax as good as we can and figure out how to already sustainably navigate through the developments. That means we really have to revisit our consumption. We have to reevaluate our values. We have to find values again, because obviously the current state shows that there is no moral consent anymore. It's a little bit part of postmodernity, but not just that. Like, I know that people do not know how to act anymore. They do not know what to think. They don't know what's right. They don't know what's wrong. And if they think they know, then they're really dogmatic about it. Like, there is no really a discourse anymore. Like, every discourse is kind of like emotional. Like, and everybody's like, oh, and like, we're just like ping-ponging between offense and defense here, and it's absolutely annoying, and it doesn't lead us anywhere. So I think people should really, like, from an individual perspective, see it as a chance to really grow as a person, like, to really push your intellect, like, do some other research, educate yourself as long as you can, like, get your shit in order, like, get your life in order, upgrade your life design, and at the same time, of course, be part of a collective consciousness. Do not underestimate the power of a collective consciousness. I want to also say something that is really crucial and really important for me to say. From a human-animal perspective, okay? It was always being said that the difference between an animal and a human was logos. The ability for cognition, or whatever you want to call it. If we are not using that, like, if our opinion or intellect is not mirroring this human potential of cognition, then we're basically animals. So, and that is going to reflect in the world building that is surrounding us as these type of things. I love animals and everything, but, like, at the end of the day, I think, like, the human potential is extremely neglected. It is minimized. Like, people are underestimating it. And especially in an age where everybody's freaking out about AI and artificial intelligence and blah, blah, blah. Another topic that I'm not getting into right now. We all have to relax. It's not too late for anything. They're not going to take your jobs. Artificial intelligence will not replace humans as long as humans, slowly but surely, as a collective consciousness, start to remember what it means to be a human. Not what it means to be a mouthpiece of a political ideology. Not what it means to be like a perroquet, just like reproducing what another person says without doing the brain work. As long as we all just chillax in the sense of healthily navigate through these challenges of the current state of modernity, we're good. We're good. As long as we're just spending time scrolling through random ass bullshit that eats our time away without having our own goals and not having control over our own lives, we are fucked up. And to say it, Ben, frankly, we deserve to be fucked up then. Because obviously we're not fulfilling our potential, which is given by the universe. We are not here to just sit there and, like, eat bread and just, I love bread, but, like, a lot of people are really negating the human potential, and I think that is also the reason and the ground for being so afraid of everything. Like, we are afraid of everything these days. We're either afraid of everything or just we're ignoring everything. And I think it's a really, really toxic development. And I think we should all just see our own role in these developments and understand that we are not powerless. Like, every single individual can contribute to whatever the future will be. And I think people are really underestimating the power of the individual. Let's just shift from a power perspective to a force perspective. We all watched Star Wars, or we didn't. If you didn't, what the hell are you doing? And we just gonna like trying to aim towards that. And you can read Newton about it, what forces are doing. Just don't take it too seriously. We all know that rocketry is obviously failing because of Newton. So let's just not talk about that for a second. We should all look forward to the next launch, though, because that's at least something hope-giving, that we can get the fuck out of here, just in case the collective consciousness will not re-find itself quickly enough. But yeah, I had to say that. I just getting used to this recording stuff. I'm really introvert. It's really uncomfortable. But I have to say that because a lot of opinions out there are just not matching with what I would say. I hope it doesn't get any clicks. I'm just gonna upload it somewhere so the universe is not mad at me for not sharing a particular viewpoint. And I have a life, so I'm gonna do that now. And I hope everybody has a great day, night, or whatever you are into. And yeah, I think I'm gonna record these things sometimes because some people think it might be valuable, or some people just want to see an aesthetic setting which is comfortable for people with that are on the spectrum, for example, because obviously this color arrangement is everything. It's really healthy for the mind. We see too many colors. For all you people out there who are having too many screen time moments here, just please grayscale the shit. Like, do not blame other people on your state of mind if you don't know how to shut off colors. Like, you have to relax with the colors, I think. And also for everybody out there, just one thing. More and more people are gonna become like kind of like an autism spectrum people, right? Whatever that means. Like, we're all highly overwhelmed by everything, which is part of nature, part of the world that is existing right now. Just a tiny little comment on everybody. Please learn how to control your face. Like, the world is a horrible place right now. We're all learning. We are forced to learn. Like, we're really busy. We're like really reaching our potential that was given to us. Like, we're all busy, right? We're all trying out here. So the last thing we need is some random ass strange people that are just out there, just like annoying us and bothering other people with a face that says, I hate everything. Like, if you hate everything, just set up a net neutral face. You do not have to, like, people just check your faces. That's all what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to be pretty, because that is not existing. This category is obviously just a construct, which is absolutely overrated. Check your face. Sometimes I have a bad day, right? And I don't even want to go outside. And then I go outside. And then all I see is devastating faces. Like, nobody wants to see that. If your face looks like that, just stay inside, okay? If you hate your job, don't do a job. Get the money from the state. Like, whatever. Do not bother people without a reason. We are bothered enough, okay? Chillax. Because this is not a neutral thing. Like, you don't have to scream at people to scream at people. For people like highly sensitive people, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. Like, we don't want to see that. Like, you don't have to smile at us because that's creepy too. Just set up a neutral face and check your face sometimes. And like, a smile doesn't really cost anything, right? And to everybody who's out there, like, being afraid of getting wrinkles and stuff, just drink water. Like I have to drink more water, but I have no wrinkles. Like I'm obviously 70 years old and I look like that. So everybody check your faces. If you're in a bad mood, try to hide it, you know. Don't let it out on other people. They do not have anything to do with your trauma. If you can grasp the people who have something to do with your trauma, let them know in some cute kind of way. And just don't be sad, you know. A lot of things are going to happen. A lot of things are out of our control, but most of the things we can control ourselves. You do not have to have money for that. You do not have to do anything crazy to really find peace and things. Like, just really learn to concentrate on the smallest unit around you. Like, for example, this. And just meditate on that. You know, you can meditate on everything. Just learn how to. Oh, by the way, these are holy books. Please excuse me that they are lying on the ground, but that has a particular. That is justifiable, and I'm not getting into this. Bloop. But I'm reading the old writings because we should all do that. So I'm gonna go now, and that was kind of uncomfortable, but I think it's okay. I think I did great. And check your faces and have a lovely day. I'm waiting for a particular number to appear so I can switch it off. I think that was a great first take, and for me, directing this, I know how to do this now, and I think I have every element to just get it out there. Maybe in 60 years I'm gonna do live streams, but I think that's good for an introvert autism baby. So bye.